Hey, welcome. Ever find yourself saying something completely over the top, something that's not technically true, but it feels true? We all do it, right? From epic poetry to just complaining about our day, we love to stretch reality to make a point. Well, today, we're diving deep into that amazing art of extreme exaggeration. We're talking about hyperbole.
So let's kick things off with a total classic. You know this one. I'm so hungry I could eat a horse. I mean, come on. Who hasn't said something like this before? Obviously, you're not actually going to go find a horse for dinner. But this is the perfect starting point. It's that everyday extreme language we're going to unpack.
But for real, could you? Yeah, probably not. So, what's the deal? Why do we reach for these huge overstatements when we could just, say, I'm very hungry? That's the big question we're going to solve right now.
All right, section 1. Let's get a solid definition down. What even is hyperbole? The key thing, right off the bat, is to think of it as an artistic tool, not a mistake or a lie.
Okay, so here's the official definition, but I want you to zoom in on a couple of words here. Deliberate and obvious. That's so important. This isn't someone getting their facts wrong. It's a choice. A writer or a speaker is choosing to blow things way out of proportion for one reason, to show you just how intense a feeling is. And this is maybe the most important distinction we can make. People sometimes get them mixed up, but they're opposites. A lie is designed to trick you, right? To hide what's real. Hyperbole, it's doing the exact opposite. It's not trying to fool you at all. It's trying to get you to feel an emotional truth on a much, much deeper level.
Okay, now for the super practical part. Think of this next section as your very own hyperbole toolkit. I'm going to give you 4 simple tests you can use to spot this stuff anywhere. You'll be like a poetry detective. Let's do it.
Tool number 1 is what I call the impossible test. This is your first and best tool. It's simple. If you read something and the literal meaning is just physically impossible in the real world, then you've almost definitely got hyperbole on your hands. It's a total giveaway.
All right, test number 2. Spot the extreme words. Look, writers leave clues all over the place. So if you see words that are just absolute extremes, think forever, endless, a million, dying, your little hyperbole alarm should be going off. These words are like giant flashing signs.
Next up, tool number 3, the literal test. This one's so easy. Just try to take the phrase literally for a second. Ask yourself, does this actually make sense? If the answer is a hard no and it sounds totally absurd, then bingo, you found it. It's exaggeration for effect. And our last tool, number 4, look for emotional overload. So much of poetry is about feeling, right? Well, think of hyperbole as the volume knob on those feelings, cranked all the way up to 11. When the emotion in a line just feels massive, over the top, almost too intense, that's a pretty sure sign the writer is using hyperbole to make you feel it too.
All right, toolkit assembled. Now, let's actually use it. We're going to take these 4 tests and apply them to a couple of classic examples. You'll see just how simple this is.
Okay, first up for analysis. It's a gorgeous line. Her smile lit up the whole world. But let's put on our detective hats. What do our tests tell us about this one?
And the verdict is definitely hyperbole. I mean, right away, the impossible test flags this one. Can a smile literally provide light for the entire planet? No way. So what the poet is really doing here is exaggerating to show us the incredible, overwhelming joy and beauty they see in that smile.
Okay, let's do one more. This one's super common. You've heard it a million times in songs and poems. I cried a river. Okay, your turn. Run it through the toolkit. What jumps out at you?
Yep, you got it. It's hyperbole again. The impossible test tells us a human being can't literally produce a river's worth of tears. But by saying this, the writer is showing us a grief that is so deep and overwhelming. It hits way harder than just saying, I was really sad, doesn't it?
Okay, so we know what it is, we know how to find it, but that leads to the big question, why? Why do writers do this? Why not just be direct? Well, this is where we get to the real secret weapon of poetry. It really comes down to this. Hyperbole is the poet's secret weapon for a few reasons. It cranks up the emotion, for sure. It creates these super vivid, memorable images in your head. It adds a splash of drama. But most of all, it highlights the sheer depth of a feeling. It's the difference between being told someone is sad and being pulled into their world and feeling that sadness with them.
And that, right there, is the big takeaway. Hyperbole isn't really about lying or bending the physical truth. It's about telling a bigger truth, an emotional truth. It's the writer's way of saying, look, my feelings right now are so massive, so powerful, that regular everyday words just won't cut it.
So I'm going to leave you with a question to think about. What about you? Think about your own day. When you said you waited forever for a text, or that you have a ton of work to do, what was the emotional truth you were really trying to get across? You're probably using hyperbole more than you think. Thanks for joining me.